Now let's look at the pros of spiritual courting. Consistently directing our thoughts and energy to a particular person. That's a pro. Especially if we have reason to, okay? To a particular person, a place, or thing. But that's going to cause for direct thoughts and energy. You got to put some time and some energy. When we say energy, we talk intensity about it as you can, right? Or a thing, because we begin to establish an energetic core connecting us to that object. It helps us to fill any perceived spaces of distance. Like we said, distance doesn't even matter when we're preparing to either time travel or to engage in dream sharing, like we saw in Inception. So what are the cons of spiritual courting? Because it's also possible to consciously create a cord to another person. This is in the domain of black magic. When you consciously, on purpose, knowing what you're doing, not, if you don't know what you're doing, you still might get caught up, because just like the regular mundane law says, ignorance of the law is not an excuse, right? And then the same thing might go with, as above, so below. So we want to be careful about consciously connecting people to us and without their permission and stuff, because it's energy draining and it's misguided intentions. We should never use psychic means to purposely control or affect another's energy without their permission. Guess why? Because there are no exemptions from this rule. You can't say you're sorry. Well, you could be sorry, but that's not going to mean much, because there's going to be karmic repercussions, and they're going to be enormous. We start talking about black magic and getting dipping and dabbling in that, and you don't know what you're doing, and I know nobody on this line is doing anything like that, but we are aware. We're becoming aware and just re-emphasizing what could happen. All right. So how do we detach from unwanted spiritual cords? By way of clearing or eliminating or cutting cords. Clearing a cord can help alleviate the emotional aspect of couples, for instance. Couples, of course, are courted, and the intensity, it might help alleviate the emotional intensity so that couple can progress to a more balanced relationship. If it's not, right, you got to work with the cord. And not so much working and making him or her do something, or making yourself do something better. Well, I'm going to do better. Why not work with that cord? If a breakup occurs, the cord may stay for a long time. Say you just calling it quits. Okay, so you want to just go on your way. Okay, so but that's easier said than done when you got a cord, and it take a long time, and it might continue to operate. Even when you don't want it to, it's going to make it hard to let go and to move on with another partner. And if you don't move on correctly and stuff, the other partner might be like, where's your mind? Who you thinking about? I thought you was over her. I thought you was over him. I thought whatever, right? And so in this case, clearing the cord can do wonders. To eliminate the cord by going within. Ask your higher self to let them go and dissolve them in the divine light. No, don't just say in the light, say divine light. You'll probably need to do this regularly for a while. If you do this a couple of times a day, or a few weeks, a few heptads or whatever, those who attempt to reestablish a cord with you will probably become tired of it and stop. So you got to keep doing your end. So if they're still trying to connect, it ain't happening. You're no more. They're not coming running in and out of your dome. You ain't worried about it. You at peace. That's just because you have to cut that cord, right? So you see a pair of scissors down here to cut a cord. When we're cutting the cord, we're feeling tired, irritated, upset, or drained. Those are the reasons why we want to cut the cord. So we need to sit in a meditation, use that inner vision, scan our body from front to back. We can imagine ourselves cutting the cords, and we're going to allow the energy to return where it belongs. Send it right back. When the cords are cut, eliminated, or cleared, we should surround ourselves now with that beautiful cocoon of glowing divine white light and say something along the lines of, I now am willing to connect with my divine source of energy. And I'll only allow the highest vibration of love to connect me to others. In conclusion, we want to live healthy, right? That's and part of lopping off these spiritual cords that we still got lingering on us and on our astral bodies and all. We can't be healthy like that unless it's a cord that's actually helping. So we need to have all of our energy in our own space and our own bodies. And we do not try to direct our influence to make somebody else do what they don't want to do, or giving them some energy that they not wanting. We do not need the energy of others to survive. We're all our own power generators with our own life plans. Power generators. That's interesting word, because that's the chakras. And let's get rid of and cut off all of the spiritual cords that's still draining people out here. And they're like, have you ever came home or whatever and sat down and go, wow, I'm tired. I don't know why I'm so tired. I slept good last night. I'm eating correctly. I didn't get into no altercations or nothing with nobody. Nobody rubbed me the wrong way or none of that. But I'm drained. Well, now we know that those are spiritual cords. All that we need to do is tune into that divine source of energy. I want everyone to stay tuned up, stay tuned in, because we're going to definitely get into it with the noosphere. That's how we're going to do all of this stuff.